Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today, man. We got another Just Thought Lounge visual for y'all today. Today's crime story is the murder of Andreen, or Adrian McDonald. We'll figure out, you know what I'm saying, the correct pronunciation. So I do apologize if I am saying it incorrectly. But another crime story for us today. A little different than the body cams, but I do like these. You like these?
Yeah, I do.
Because these are like more like informative of the whole thing. Like, it's not necessarily just a body cam joint of the action, but it's more like what led up, what happened, and what sometimes the after effect. Yeah. And they give you kind of more. It makes me feel like it's Snap. What's like Snap on like some of the A&E crime documentary joints and stuff like that. Like joints you used to watching like on Oxygen.
I don't think I used to...
What you used to watch?
I used to watch Snap a lot, but they came on
Oxygen.
Did it come on Oxygen?
Yeah.
Oh, so what came on A&E? First 48?
First 48.
Yeah.
But a couple other things used to come up. But
I used to watch Snap a lot.
Snap used to come on Oxygen though. And they had a couple other joints similar to that too.
Yeah.
But Oxygen, yeah. But hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it with a thumbs up.
But I feel like A&E used to have something similar. And I can't call it right off the back of my head, but I swear I feel like that. But also, if you're new to the channel, haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the family. Join the fun, man. Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about, man. Let's get it.
From the moment that 29-year-old Andreen McDonald went missing.
Andreen. Okay, that makes sense. Andreen McDonald. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. She's beautiful. Okay.
From the moment that 29-year-old Andreen McDonald went missing, there was little doubt as to who was responsible. In the immediate aftermath of her disappearance, her husband Andre lies to law enforcement and claims ignorance as to her whereabouts. After that, he stops talking entirely. All the while...
Big ass red flag already.
Yeah.
Big ass red flag. Did we get the location?
Not yet.
You the husband. You immediately stop talking. Like, if something happens to your spouse, you the main one want to see justice, right? Mm-hmm. So why the hell come talk to me like yeah, I know, like I know you're gonna look at me
first.
Always.
Yeah.
That's always
do what you need.
But if I'm 100% innocent, I'm gonna answer everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you will be able to tell.
After that, he stops talking entirely. All the while, even as the investigation and search for his wife is underway, Andre is actively taking steps to cover his tracks.
Ooh,
years down the line, when he finally begins to tell his truth, Andre provides a story that no one was expecting.
The truth burden.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today we're taking a look at a recent case out of Texas. We've seen murder cases before involving troubled marriages, controlling husbands, and secret affairs. But this case, in many ways, is in a category of its own. Let's take a look. Andre McDonald and Andreen Anderson met in 2009 in Port Antonio, Jamaica. Both had been born and raised in Jamaica. Andre, after graduating from high school, joined his mother in Florida, where he attended a community college. He later earned a degree in electrical engineering from Florida International University. After his graduation, Andre underwent officer training as part of the US military. Eventually, Andreen, who was 10 years his junior, moved to the United States to be with Andre, and the two were married. Shortly after their wedding, Andre, who had been stationed in Florida, was transferred to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. These early years of their marriage were, by all accounts, very good ones. Andreen earned a degree from the University of Texas at San Antonio and gave birth to their daughter, Elena. The couple also launched their own business in home healthcare, opening up several live-in care facilities. In 2015, they were able to sponsor Andreen's mother, Hyacinth Maureen Smith, to join them from Jamaica. She lived with the couple and helped take care of Elena. She was employed in one of their care homes. The extended family was, at that time, very close.
You know what it was? It looks like this big picture-perfect family. Two basic immigrants moving into the U.S. They're thriving. He went to the military. She came college degree. They got a business that's flourishing. Now he's able to move family here. So it's like low-key living this American dream, you know? But a lot of times what looks perfect on the outside has so many secrets hidden within the inside.
True.
In 2019, daughter Elena was 6 years old. The couple were busy. Andre was promoted to major in the United States Air Force in 2016, but he transferred to reserve duty in order to stay based in San Antonio. Andreen ran the daily operations of their million-dollar business, and they continued to expand with plans to open more locations. On the morning of March 1st, 2019, Andreen did not show up for work or answer her phone. Carol Ann Gonbar, a good friend of Andreen's, was particularly worried. Carol was a competitor of Andreen's in the assisted living industry, but she and Andreen had nonetheless become very close friends. They worked together most mornings. Concerned, Carol, along with two of Andreen's coworkers, went out to the McDonald family home in North Bexar County. Finding no one at home, Carol decided to take a look around. She quickly found signs that something was not right. Around the back of the house, she spotted a collection of ashes on the walkway. A small fire had been lit there, and the remnants of what appeared to be a zipper was visible. Why had Andre or Andreen been burning their clothing?
Why?
Carol recalled what her good friend had once told her. "If I ever go missing," Andreen said, "it will be because Andre killed me."
Shut up.
For you to even have to tell somebody that, bruh.
So they were already like.
For you to really have to
going-
tell
Ooh.
an individual that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's you. That's time to go ahead and leave.
Wow.
You know? Like.
That's sad.
If you have to tell somebody, if anything ever happens to me and I disappear, my husband did it. Why not leave?
I don't know that. It's easier said than done.
I know it's easier said than done, but it's like you already know what's, you know what I'm saying? What's really going?
Carol entered the home through an open back door. Inside, her fears were confirmed. On a light switch inside the bathroom, she found a blood smear.
What?
She quickly snapped a photo of it with her phone. At this point, she contacted a friend, a detective, who advised her to reach out to Andreen's mother and then to the sheriff's office. Hyacinth, who went by her middle name Maureen, met Carol at the house.
But then they said she was a live-in? She was living it?
Well, she just said that they moved. She was able to move her to.
But I swear I felt like he said
to take care of the child.
She was living and helping take care of the child. Lived it.
I wonder, like when she first came, was she? And then they ended up getting her own place
because they started
like
making more money, so they probably financially could have her. Or on his part, that he wants you to get your mama up out the house. We make enough money, she can just go get her own spot. She ain't got to be her. Control. You know what I'm saying? Control the situation when you don't want them in the house because whatever situation you really want to control.
Yeah. But
then mama probably gonna interfere with what you being able to. You know how it go.
She confirmed that no one had seen or heard from Andreen since the previous evening. The young businesswoman's cell phone, keys, and purse were in the house. Both of the vehicles that she regularly drove were parked in the driveway.
Oh, she gone.
Her husband, Andre, was not at home. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office received a call from Carol and Maureen and met them out at the property for a welfare check. Walking through the house, the sheriff's deputy spotted a few red flags. Through the master bedroom, the carpet had been freshly cleaned. He noted the blood on the light switch, which Carol had photographed with her phone earlier. There was also blood on the bathroom floor and a small amount visible on an internal doorway. The Chevrolet Malibu parked in the garage had a small dent in its rear above the opening to the trunk. The deputy also noted with interest that light-colored gravel was covering the tires. It was odd, he thought, that the car had obviously been very recently driven on a country road. During the visit, Andre McDonald arrived home. He told the deputy that he had just been to the Baptist Emergency Hospital to check, and his wife was being treated there. So, nothing to worry about. However, a quick phone call to the hospital revealed that this was not, in fact, the case.
Why the fuck would you even use that as a...
can easily... It takes nothing to call the hospital that you said she's at and check to see if they have a patient under their name.
As soon as I found out you lied about that,
what
now
else
you
my
my main...
about? Now
but then my main suspect.
What you saying? You are dumb.
Weird. You are weird.
Confronted with this information, Andre admitted that he and his wife had had an argument the night before, and that he was now unaware of where she was. Law enforcement promptly detained Andre, who requested an attorney and said nothing more. Meanwhile, the blood found on the light switch and in the bathroom was sent for testing. Results returned a positive match to Andreen McDonald. It turns out that Andre had, in fact, been at the Baptist Emergency Hospital just prior to returning home to find sheriff deputies at his house. Brendan Gordon, who was the clerk working the desk at the emergency facility that morning, recounted how Andre entered the emergency very quickly. The Air Force major stated that he was looking for his wife. Brendan asked only for a last name to check the records. When he told Andre that there was in fact an African-American woman with the name McDonald being treated, he recounted that Andre stared off at me, went to the door, and left.
Establishing an alibi.
That's all it was. So I did go. I did try to check. I did. They told me it was a McDonald.
But also, if a McDonald on an African American lady in the hospital, last name McDonald, I believe is my wife. I'm gonna validate.
I'm gonna verify if it's her or not.
And with her being my spouse, I'm able to go.
Right. So okay, well.
And then they'd be like, "Hey, do you have any records or anything?" I'm sure you could provide something that would show.
But you turn around and leave.
Yeah.
Boy, bye.
It was later confirmed, of course, that the woman treated in hospital was not Andreen McDonald. Andre was released from the Bexar County Sheriff's Office the following morning, March 2nd. For the next 12 hours, he was unaccounted for. His movements were only later pieced together. It turns out, Andre was running some errands. Security cameras at a Lowe's hardware store captured Andre filling a cart full of various items, ostensibly used for gardening or perhaps camping. He had a shovel, an axe, and gloves. The items also included 2 5-gallon gas containers.
What?
Andre paid for the items in 2 transactions, one on his debit card, but the other in cash. From the Lowe's, Andre was captured stopped at a Shell gas station. He drove up to a pump on the far right, number 20, just out of view of the cameras. There, he purchased roughly 9.7 gallons of gas, filling the 2 containers that he had just acquired at the hardware store. A deputy tasked with observing the McDonald house after Andre's release arrived to find that the garage door had been torn off its tracks. The deputy then watched while Andre left the house. Following him covertly, the major was tracked to Nagel's gun shop. In the shop, he purchased a firearm as well as...
And this is why I said, like, I do believe certain, like, right now you're being investigated in the case. That should be something where you could put in a system where it flags you where while I'm being investigated in the case, I cannot purchase or possess a firearm.
Yeah.
That got to be something like done with. Like I ain't saying take measure, take it away from, because you know what I'm saying, that is your. But it should be regulated better.
Yeah.
What was described as a significant amount of ammunition. He selected a Smith & Wesson pistol and paid for his purchase. But then, bizarrely, Andre abruptly turned and left the shop. He left the gun, the ammunition, and his ID behind, and just walked out.
He's off his shit, bro. I think he's panicking. He doesn't know what to do at this point, you know? I'll be censoring myself. I'll be like, what the?
Keep on.
Deputies watching him from outside took Andre into custody as he exited the gun shop. At that stage, they had only pieces of a puzzle, but there was something very wrong, and they were concerned for Andre's mental health. During this encounter, they noticed cuts and other marks on his hands. He offered more than one conflicting explanation for these injuries.
I love my daughter. I love my family.
Returning to the house at Solitude Cove, the deputies made an unsettling observation. In the back of the Porsche Macan registered to Andreen was a shovel. The item had not been in the vehicle during the first walkthrough of the house during the welfare check. Based on this, the sheriff's team made a case to go back inside, and they acquired a search warrant. By the time law enforcement entered the home for a second time, no one had had eyes on Andre McDonald for a roughly 12-hour period, from when he left the station until his trip to the gun shop. Members of the BCSO crime scene investigation team entered the home and found, in addition to the shovel, numerous items, mostly within the two vehicles that Andre had been driving over the course of the previous 2 days. Mm-hmm. In the backseat of the Malibu, resting on the car floor, was a hatchet. In the trunk, investigators found a roll of black plastic. There were 2 lighters in the console of the vehicle. In the Porsche, there was a box full of heavy-duty plastic garbage bags, a full-sized axe, a small hatchet, and a pair of work gloves. Inside,
you got all the evidence in the world to show that he has did something. He has dismembered the body and trying to get rid of it, but you don't have a body. So his thing is, if you don't have a body, you don't have a crime, right? But you have everything to lead up to the knowing that we have a missing individual, which is your wife. Mm-hmm. We have you buying all these things that are very much
the DNA, that the blood that they found.
Yeah. Basically, that's where the crime scene. Yeah. Whatever happened, it happened here because the carpet has been cleaned. There's blood splatter in multiple places. So the crime happened in the bedroom. Now we got you with a hatchet, shovel, gasoline, black garbage bags. Like
yeah.
Why we saying the same?
I'm just helping you, just in case you missed something.
No, we said it at the same exact time. That's crazy. But no, stop it.
We in sync.
No, we're not. No. But what I'm trying to say is, you got every indication that shows that you have committed a crime. Where's this lady at? So her.
Yeah, facts.
Where's the remain? Because you know what it is? He didn't expect somebody to come to the house. Mm-hmm. He was planning on cleaning. If he was able to clean, because he was trying to work fast.
Yeah.
What messed him up was the white lady coming, the friend.
Why you saying
I said the white lady.
No, but the coworker, though.
I don't know her name.
Her name Carol.
Carol coming over, going in the house, because the doors are ajar. I'm going in, checking on family and friends.
Because it's a thing, like, and I do appreciate, I know sometimes people like, oh, like, this neighbor or something. She wasn't a neighbor. She was a coworker. But I'm just, like, using this as an example.
Not necessarily a coworker, but acquaintance that's actually a friend.
This neighbor may be nosy, or this friend may be whatever, or whatever you may say. But the fact that, because it was abnormal for her not to come in. Or
they always...
not to call, or not to whatever, because she is one of those, you know.
And sometimes it's good to have a routine, because somebody be like, that ain't
is not, like, she's done this for how many years, and she's never, Like, if she was running late, she probably would call and say, hey, I'm running late. Or if she, won't be there or make it or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But the fact that she didn't call, didn't show up.
Didn't inform me of anything.
Nothing. That's a red flag. Yeah. So, yeah, I do appreciate Carol, like, moving, like, and then going in and
swiftly. And really being able to go in and get some, like, peep things before he's able to return. Facts. Because with multiple different cars, he's taking multiple different cars wherever he's going to wherever the body is. Yeah. And he didn't have time to get rid of the body, but the body is not at the home. Yeah. He had enough time to take the body out somewhere and lay the body out, but he hadn't had time to bury the body, to burn the body or anything. So, right. Good.
Yeah, my eyelashes are sticking together.
All right, let's go.
Inside a white plastic bag, they found a worn claw hammer with plant debris. Also on the hammer was blood.
Damn.
Inside a trash can, deputies found 2 torn-up receipts for most of these items, all purchased.
Fool. We don't give a fuck about you turning up the receipt.
We got you on camera.
And we can always... Y'all so damn dumb. Transactions got receipts to it. You get one receipt, don't you? It's just not printed out, but they got it in the system, and they got your card on file. And even though you pay with cash, fool, you pay with a card for something else that we can indicate that you was here at Lowe's. All now we got to do is get camera footage. Fool, you are dumb. Damn.
At the Lowe's hardware.
I be saying it like I know how to commit a crime. I don't know how to commit a crime. I'm just
store. It appeared as though the recently purchased items had not been put to use. But they had been packed into the vehicle, as though he was ready to take them somewhere. The hammer, however, was dirty and bloodied.
What you finna say? Or throw you off his track, though.
Or did he do something in the home, hurry up, pack her body up, take it somewhere, went and bought the stuff, and he was going to go back? And
that's what I'm saying. That's why I was indicating earlier. Or was he trying to do that to throw you off? Could be to throw you off track. Ain't no telling.
But if you want to throw me off track, not doing all of that would throw me, like, that would, like, prolong it because they would have, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, that's anyway.
Testing confirmed that the blood on it was a match to Andreen McDonald.
So he beat her with the hammer.
There was not enough evidence in the house to piece together exactly what had happened to Andreen. But the BCSO knew that whatever had occurred, the husband was at the center of it. A day after she was reported missing, Andre was formally arrested and charged with tampering with evidence.
Mm-hmm. It led us to believe that that these were implements that were going to be used to dispose of a body, quite obviously to us, which really tends to drive home the point to us that we believe that Andreen McDonald is no longer living.
A massive search effort for Andreen commenced in the following days. Local volunteers, the military, the FBI, and local law enforcement began a systematic search in the Bexar County countryside. Cell phone data extracted from Andre's personal device was unhelpful. If he had, as the BCSO suspected, disposed of his wife's body, he had known enough to leave his cell phone at home. Nonetheless, search teams riding horseback, ATVs, and hiking rough terrain covered miles of countryside outside of San Antonio. Each portion of the grid that was covered was one more area that could be ignored in the days that followed. They were making progress, albeit very slowly. While the search parties were gathering daily, Andre McDonald's bail was reduced on account of limited evidence, and he was released and placed on house arrest. He did not join the search efforts for his wife.
Why would he?
Prosecution is providing us with...
He knows exactly where to search, so he's not going to search.
With discovery on the event, on the tampering with evidence. We told the judge that everything is just going well in that regard.
With searching ongoing, the investigation into Andre McDonald continued. Investigators spoke with family and friends about the state of their marriage. What they found was a potential motive. Andreen ran most day-to-day operations of the business, which had grown to encompass 3 assisted living homes with a 4th in the planning stages. By that time, the company was valued at roughly $1 billion. But investigators...
Well, what? No, he did. It
Let me see. Just play it.
It sounded like a B.
Just play
Time, the company was valued at roughly $1 billion. But investigators learned that tensions had been growing in the marriage. It had not been a healthy relationship for years.
Even though she ran a day-to-day operation, even if the relationship was separated, because it was more her business than his, because he can't run it. She can.
Yeah.
He wanted.
Yeah.
One reason why a lot of marriages don't work out is due to financial greed. You know what I'm saying? On someone's part. Sometimes it's on the male. The male is the breadwinner. But sometimes it's the woman. The woman wants more, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
In 2016, after 6 months of Air Force training in Alabama, Andreen returned to Texas to find the mood in the home had shifted. Andreen had messaged him while he was out of state, telling him that when his training concluded, not to return to the house. When he did, he learned that Andreen had acquired 2 new tattoos. One was an infinity symbol with the letter A in the middle, and the second was a date. The significance of these was not lost on Andreen. The A he knew did not stand for him nor for his wife. The A in the symbol stood for Andreen's ex-boyfriend, Aubryn, a man Andreen described as a local gang leader and drug dealer who they knew in Jamaica. The ex-boyfriend had a matching tattoo placed on his chest. The date that Andreen had tattooed to her wrist was Aubryn's birthday. Andreen filed for divorce. Under the community property laws in Texas, in a divorce, each spouse would take 50% of everything. This is how the proceedings were being settled when, in 2017, Andreen convinced Andreen to stop the divorce. The couple did not fully reconcile, but hostilities were eased and they continued to co-parent and run the business. However, in the beginning of 2019, old tensions were flaring back up. Andreen had returned from a trip to Jamaica, where she was continuing her affair with Aubryn. She and Andreen fought over her desire to return to Jamaica, presumably to be with him. On July 11th, 2019, 5 months after Andreen had been reported missing, a local farmer named Clifton Claband was walking out on his property on Specht Road. He set out to retrieve a cow's head for a yard decoration for a friend, he said, when he smelled a foul odor. When Clifton approached the cow bones, he discovered human remains amongst them. He kept his distance and called the sheriff's office. It was about 7:30 p.m.
Jeez.
The farm property was less than 10 miles from the McDonald home.
Oh.
This is actually quite literally ground zero for the search for Andreen McDonald. Our mounted patrol was up and down this road searching. These remains that were found this time, of course, it's too early to tell whether they're those of a male or a female.
The sheriff described the location as a very desolate road. The remains were found about 20 yards in and behind a fence and a gate. Search parties had combed near to the field, but had been unable to search the farm itself because it was privately owned property. The remains were covered with wood and the bones of the dead cow. The pile had been set on fire. The BCSO made the announcement that so many people had been waiting for. They had found Andreen McDonald. With the discovery of Andreen's body, the BCSO had the last missing piece of the case they had been building against Andreen McDonald. He was arrested outside of his home and indicted for first-degree murder. There were multiple delays to Andreen's trial, including the COVID pandemic, which pushed the start date to early 2023. During this period of time, Andreen remained notably silent. He had made no statements to the police since the first days of his wife's disappearance, so it was a shocking development when, 3 days before testimony was set to begin, Andreen placed a call to his former mother-in-law and confessed to killing his wife.
Ooh.
He wanted to be honest with them, he said. He told her family that Andreen had attacked him during an argument and that he had been forced to fight back. In doing so, he caused her to fall, and 2 kicks to her while on the floor to keep her down must have caused her to asphyxiate. He had not intended to kill her. He wanted Maureen to hear what he claimed really happened before everyone else heard him testify to it at the trial. He would be arguing that he was not guilty by reason of self-defense. The trial opened with Maureen testifying to the phone call she held with Andre only days earlier. She recounted what he had told her occurred leading up to Andreen's death. They had argued, she fell to the ground, he had stomped her. Hearing Elena's footsteps elsewhere in the house, Andre had left Andreen to put their daughter back to bed.
What did Andre say about that?
Elena was coming downstairs, so he take Elena back upstairs and put her to bed.
Did he explain what was happening or what Andreen was doing as he was taking Elena upstairs?
She was on the floor wheezing.
Did Andre say what happened after he put Elena upstairs?
When he came back down, she was dead.
Dr. James Fegg, a forensic pathologist with the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office, conducted the autopsy. He testified that Andreen's cause of death was homicidal violence, including blunt force trauma. When asked whether he could rule out asphyxiation as the cause, he said no. There was simply not enough of her remains left to determine further details.
Facts.
How did Andre McDonald?
If they was able to find the body sooner,
Yeah,
like,
they would have been able to.
Well, he had already burnt the body. Even that, like, if they was able to find it when she first went missing and he was in custody, yeah. But when he got out and he got Lowe's and got all that gas, he had 12 hours to go out there and do it.
Oh, that's true.
So, honestly, if he didn't get that other, picked up that other time and then got put on house arrest, he would have got rid of the body. They would have never found the body. Because even him burying it under the other animal bones, he had plans to come back. Because she was left too far, like, open. He had plans on going out, digging a hole and putting the rest of her remains in a hole. And it was on private property. They can't search private property. So, yeah.
Ask what?
In order to answer that, I would have to tell the jury that there is uncertainty related to this case because of the fact that we are only looking at bones.
When asked by the prosecution if the trauma would be consistent with being struck by a claw hammer, Fegg said yes. The doctor testified several injuries were found. They included fractures on her spine, charring on her finger bones, and a fractured jaw that he believed was caused by more than a stomp, as Andre had described.
Oh, he beat her.
Andre had taken some extreme steps.
What?
No, because I'm like, you said you just stumped her 2 times, but you got blood all on the bathroom floor, on the door,
Nah,
on the lights,
yeah.
on the carpet. Like,
That was identified as her blood.
And it was her blood.
Yeah.
So that's more than just I stumped her 2 times and then she fell and now she's deceased.
Nah, he hit her upside the head.
Then you got blood all on the hammer.
With the hammer. He was beating her with the hammer.
Be for real.
And with his military training, ain't no telling what he really did. Because she had spinal injuries. That was stomping her while she was on the ground in her back. You know what I'm saying? Even if she survived the beating, she probably would have been paralyzed because she had spinal damage, you know?
Yeah.
Which had helped to conceal evidence relating to Andreen's remains. She had been effectively hidden for months. That the bones had been set afire was also not in dispute. The hammer located in his home was either a murder weapon or a tool used after the fact. Andre's search history on his phone offered insight into his concerns about this evidence. His phone data was extracted and his searches read aloud in court.
At the bottom, can you tell us what the church was on 138?
Can someone fall and break their neck? Fingerprints. How long do fingerprints last? Bring DNA outdoors. How long does blood last for testing? How long does DNA last for testing? Best surfaces for fingerprints. Fingerprints on bones. How long do bones take to become dry and brittle? Is Austin humid? Is Texas humid? DNA decay in humid weather. How long? It's at www.quora.com. Why does breaking someone's neck kill them?
When the time came, Andre took the stand to testify.
That's the
defense calls Major Andreen McDonald.
His defense rested heavily on whether the story he told the jury was believable. Was Andre McDonald now telling the truth?
No.
Andre first explained how he discovered his wife's affair. He went on to outline what he thought was a scheme Andreen had been plotting to shift all of the business and its assets into her name. From his perspective, the care home business was a 50-50 endeavor with his wife. Andre had funded the initial stages of the business investment years earlier. If they divorced, they would split everything 50-50. But this arrangement, according to Andre, was not good enough for Andreen.
So there is absolutely no way you can legally have business and assets with a spouse and then get a divorce and not have half go to one spouse and half go to the other one. So in my opinion, the only way she was going to get everything to go share with a boyfriend, they had to have been planning get me whacked when I went to Jamaica. And yes, that's what I was thinking.
The prosecution took these same facts but presented them very differently. They argued that Andre viewed both the business and Andreen as his property.
Right.
He had provided the...
My bad, not hearsay, speculation.
Speculation, but yeah,
Andre viewed both the business and Andreen as his property. He had provided the seed funding for the business, so the business was more his than it was hers. He had sponsored his wife's U.S. citizenship and then paid for her university education. He felt ownership over her as well. Andreen's affair and scheme to take over the business assets and funds enraged him, they argued. So, he wanted to kill her. The couple went together to the tax office at an H&R Block to work through the details of the new business plans. During this meeting, Andre became aware of a new business that Andreen set up, using both of their assets. She called it Elena Property Management. This business was also registered in only her name.
I remember when I did the edits for the business plan and submitted them to Andreen to give them to the bank, they were under Starlight Homes. But here on this form, it says there's a business plan going forward under Elena Property Management, which I knew nothing about, and immediately I just knew she was stealing from me.
They began to argue at the tax office. The exchange continued on the way home.
Her response was, she's always alone. That's why, she'll set things up where she does it by herself. And that's when I said, that doesn't make any sense because we both live in the same house. How can you be doing stuff alone? When are you ever alone? We live in the same house. We sleep in the same house every night. So I'm not sure. That doesn't make any sense. You're clearly trying to steal from me.
Once at home, the argument was growing heated.
Bro, I got such a issue with control.
And I'm up here, hearing stuff like this. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like it's money involved. You have issues with that. You feel like she was stealing or whatever. But at the end of the day, that still gives you no right to take someone's life, regardless. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways to go about things, but you can press play.
Andre then decided to de-escalate the situation by leaving the house. He parked at the Shell station for some time, while the two continued the disagreement over text. After he left the gas station, Andre drove to a local park where he sat and listened to music to pass the time. He testified that he returned to the house around midnight when he assumed that Andreen would have gone to bed. But when he walked into the house, she was awake, waiting for him, and extremely angry.
She's right there. So I told her, look, tomorrow when I leave work, I'm going to go back downtown to the divorce lawyer and I'm going to get a divorce. This time, I'm not pulling it up. Which basically means I'm not stopping the divorce like I did the first time.
After Andre stated he wanted a divorce, he recalled that she lashed out, insulting him. It was different from the arguments they had held in the past, he said. The fight moved from the living room into the bedroom. When their altercation led to a cut on her face, she came at him.
At that point, she gets extremely angry, and that's when she comes, across the bathroom from the switch back towards the door, standing there to attack me.
When she attacks you, you react?
Yeah, so when she comes, she's like throwing like some punches, so I'm trying to like duck down and like keep my face from, getting hit with the blows. And then in between the scuffle, I remember like grabbing her and like tripping her over one of my legs. And then she like falls, and that's when I kicked her like twice when she fell. So when she got the second kick, I think I heard like some type of wheezing, coming out of her. And then also, like in the background, I could hear like some footsteps running. And at that point, I was like, oh shit, Elena.
It was just 2 kicks, Andre said, which proved fatal. Andre then admitted to driving Andreen out into the country and leaving her in a field near the bones of a dead cow.
When you put the body there, what did you do?
So at that time, I took the bags off. I was just going to leave it there. And for some reason, I don't remember why, but I just had this weird idea to probably should just take the clothes. So I took the clothes and threw them in the bag and then went back in the car and went home.
Andre was not finished with his attempts to cover his tracks. In the early morning hours of March 2nd, after being released from police custody, he drove back out to where he left Andreen.
Why would she need to like go through all this stuff to try to get it all? And then in my opinion, at that point, I'm thinking that's what the whole thing about going to Jamaica was, trying to get this dude to like probably offer me off so she can get everything. So I get really angry. So at that point, I poured like the gas on him and then I lit the fire.
He used the gas that he had to light a fire, but it burned through quickly. He noted that he needed to purchase more. Then he got out his hammer and started swinging.
So at that point, I got a hammer and, the body's like right there. So at that point, I just got really pissed off and started like, hitting the body with the hammer.
The garage door was hit with the Porsche when he backed out of the garage in the early afternoon of March 2nd. Clearly not thinking rationally, he carried on. Instead of taking the Porsche, he drove his Jaguar to the gun shop, where he purchased a Smith & Wesson pistol and then left the shop without it.
And at this point, honestly, man, I'm just like really, really angry because.
Did you have any sleep?
Nah, I didn't sleep at that point. I'm tired, but I'm angry. I'm tired, at that point, and I'm just like going off fumes at that point because, like I said, I just kept repeating in my head like, how the hell does this like shit, happen to me and me of all people? Like, why the hell did this have to happen to me?
In cross-examination, Andre was asked about the texts that he sent Andreen after 1 a.m. that night. By that time, he had already killed her and left her body in a field. Upon returning home from the farm on Specht Road, he wrote to his wife, "Where are you? Elena is in her room and you're not here."
Wow.
And I'm thinking about like the situation now, like literally in the morning, she's supposed to go to work. At some point, somebody's going to want to know. And it's at that point, like I'm thinking, I'm panicking, but at the same time, I'm thinking about the whole situation. The mom is dead. I'm probably going to get blamed. My 7-year-old daughter doesn't have both parents. And it's at that point, like I said, I start thinking about, okay, I'll just get her out of the house and then I'll just pretend I don't know where she is.
He claimed that he did not use the items that he had purchased from the Lowe's hardware store because he suffered a crisis of conscience and changed his mind. It was not, as the prosecution asserted, because he was arrested before he had an opportunity to do so. He had already set a fire and used a hammer. Despite his still palpable anger, he stopped short of returning with the axe and the hatchets.
So you wanted to go and desecrate the corpse with a hammer?
I don't know if you can desecrate a corpse with a hammer, sir, but you can hit it a few times real hard.
The prosecution argued that his silence and inaction during the 5-month period spent looking for her was also an attempt to cover his crime. To this point, Andre was uncomfortably forthright with his explanation.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would I make any efforts if I already know she's dead? Like, I'm not going to go out in the field and pretend and do some charade or something, like pretending going out doing fake searches with people and passing out files. Why would I do any of that? That's just cruel on top of what already happened.
You were hopeful that she would be found, correct?
I sort of expected that she would be found. I was just surprised it took that long. But watching the way the grass grew over time, that's when I could see that. But when I put her there on March 1st, I'm thinking, that area did not look anything like that. And it certainly did not look like something that would last like several months. I'm thinking she's probably going to get found in a day or two, to be honest.
In their closing arguments, the prosecution took aim at some of the more dubious elements of Andre's story. Considerable focus had been placed on Andreen's size and strength compared to her husband. Yet it seems that he easily overpowered her. And his explanation that 2 kicks, delivered in self-defense, was sufficient to unintentionally cause her death defied logic.
You heard what his side of the story was. He's afraid of this superwoman that's so much bigger and stronger at him.
Oh, no,
Yet in
we
the
ain't
two
doing
interactions
that.
he headbutts her
See, we gonna
and
do
opens
that?
her up. And then the second one, she's running at him and he does some type of judo move, gets her on the ground, does 2 kicks, he doesn't know where, and suddenly she's dead. It's not reasonable. And his story's not reasonable. And that's why self-defense doesn't apply, because it's a murder case.
It is murder.
The jury deliberated for 5 hours on the first day, making multiple inquiries back to the judge and reviewing Andre's testimony. At one point, the jurors decided they were deadlocked. They told Judge Frank Castro that they simply could not reach a decision. Judge Castro instructed them to reconvene based upon what's called an Allen charge. The charge often gives the defense a reason to file for another judge to throw out a guilty verdict, should one be handed down. After 14 hours, a unanimous decision was reached.
To the count of murder charged in the indictment, the jury finds the defendant not guilty of the offense of murder, as charged in the indictment, and guilty of the offense of manslaughter.
Wow.
The jury had opted for a conviction.
It is Texas too, so you gotta remember that Texas is not as simple. You know what I'm saying?
Under the lesser charge of manslaughter. This was not the verdict that the prosecution, the BCSO, or Andreen's family had hoped for.
Absolutely, I'm disappointed in that. However, if the family is able to find peace and closure, then I'm happy. I'm happy with that outcome for you.
At his sentencing, Judge Castro based his decision upon the lack of remorse and compassion that he saw displayed by Andre McDonald throughout the trial. The judge observed no emotion or visible regret. On more than one occasion, he watched as Andre stared down at his phone while testimony was being given. Even more disturbing was what the judge did notice Andre react to.
Disturbed me that the only time he seemed to pay attention was when they showed her bones up there. We were looking like very interested in it again, and not in sadness of some sort. It just disturbed me. It just didn't make sense with your background and no criminal history yet. With the victim's body with cow bones, it's also sickening to leave her there with cow bones. Again, cover your actions, but to do that with the animal cow bones. In addition, not to top it off, is weighing this against your mitigating stuff, is if you burned her body, you beat it with a hammer and desecrated her corpse. Like after that, it didn't seem. It almost seems like an emotional, like a serial killer or something. It doesn't match up with your military career and everything else that you got here. It just. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and sentence you to 20 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department.
He ain't think he was going. Oh, he got the max.
20 years is the maximum sentence that could be handed down.
Damn.
Andre also signed a plea deal for the tampering with evidence charge, which added an additional 5 years to be served consecutively.
So technically 25.
Custody of Elena was granted to her grandmother, Maureen Smith. Elena wrote a letter to her father that was read during his sentencing hearing by a caregiver. In it, she stated, "You killed my mother. You will pay for what you did forever." Back in Jamaica, Andre's own father, Everton McDonald, also found himself in legal trouble. Everton is set to stand trial in September 2023 for allegedly hiring a hitman to kill his wife, Tanya Hamilton McDonald, in July 2020. He also stands accused of murdering his first wife, Marlene, back in 2009. That trial should commence in January 2024 if he does not accept a plea deal. Both murders took place in Port Antonio. Only 4 months after his sentencing, Andre filed an appeal of his manslaughter conviction. A portion of the appeal argues that Andre's foot should not have been categorized by the court as a deadly weapon. His legal team is also alleging various issues with the evidence presented at trial.
Boy, you didn't kill her with a foot.
A decision on the appeal will take some time.
Yeah, true.
And that was the case of Andre and Andreen McDonald.
Wow.
He didn't kill her with his foot.
You did 2 stumps. No.
No, you killed her with the hammer. And the only reason why they really can't determine the true cause of death and the nature of the death is because you burned the body. You dismembered, burnt the body, and there's nothing but bones and ash left over. And you got rid of the clothing. We can't see if there's any blood splatter, splashback, or like sometimes you can determine that if there's a struggle with rips of the clothing and stuff. So we have absolutely nothing that indicates 100%. And you cleaned up the murder site. You see, bro, you beat her with the hammer. She was bloody. That's why when you hit somebody with a hammer, boom. When you go back like this, blood. That's the reason why there was blood on the doors. That's the reason why there was blood on the light switch area, and there was a big amount of blood and stuff on the carpet. And you cleaned up. You just didn't expect someone to notice that fast, and somebody come to the home and investigate that fast. Yeah. So much. Nah, man. She didn't get proper justice though.
Not at all. And that's why you decided to take her clothes and burn them or whatever, because I'm pretty sure they probably was filled with blood.
He was covering his ass that whole time.
What you said?
And honestly, it's in his DNA. His daddy the same way. And he probably know. Damn. When you think about it like that, he probably get,
That's sad, man.
That's beyond sad.
That's a piece of... Oh, my gosh.
She did not deserve that.
She didn't deserve that at
all. All because of a business. All because of greed, money. And
my thing is, and if she did want to be with another man or whatever the case may be, I
wonder.
What?
The little girl.
Oh, I ain't gonna get on that. But if she did want to be with another man or whatever, like, okay, file for the divorce, go through it, and y'all just move on, go your separate ways. You get your 50, she get her 50.
And you can tell her, just pay me out.
And just move on, bro.
Give me my money.
But yeah. Hey,
man. Y'all spam us up in the comments. The whole situation was toxic. It was a very much so toxic.
That's sad. Yeah. Most definitely, yep.
Let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is we are. We out.
Time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar.